I'm Coach Seb, and this is Running New Mexico. All right, joining me today, I have Leah Futey. She is a cross country and track runner at Cleveland High School in Rio Rancho. She's a multi-time state champion. She had over the last summer ran a 4:59 in the mile during track, which is pretty amazing, and a 10:48 2 mile. So lots of fast times. And she's committed to go to Syracuse next year. So thank you for joining me.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So my first question is, how did you get into running?
I started running for Cougar Track Club when I was about 5 years old. My brother started running. He runs for Nichols State in Louisiana now, but I started running for the team, and I saw him at practice every day, and I was there anyway, so I just started running with him.
So your brother kind of helped get you into it?
Yeah, he was a big part of it.
Well, like you said, he's off at college. Is it cool kind of been able to watch him kind of being a little bit older, kind of do these things like, oh, I want to be like him, or I want to be better than he is?
Well, yeah, it has been cool. I obviously saw him like going through the recruiting process a few years before I did, so that was cool. And then also again while I was doing it, because then he was going back there when he transferred. And so we've always sort of bonded over running. I think that's sort of one of our connections. So it's been cool. He's been somebody that I look up to, definitely.
It definitely helps when you have like family members who have been through it, but especially like older siblings,
For sure.
because you're watching them in the moment.
Yeah, growing up with them doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Were your parents runners?
My mom ran in high school. My dad ran in high school as well.
Were they distance runners as well?
My dad was. He did a
Nice.
bunch of sports, but he
Yeah.
ran track and cross country too.
Awesome. Well, very cool. When you started this at a young age, did you have any big goals, or you just kind of enjoyed what you were doing?
I mean, I've always sort of had big goals that I've wanted to reach. I had a lot of expectations just from succeeding from such a young age as well, I would say, which have pushed me to get where I was. So I'm grateful for it.
That's good. Was that ever kind of hard having those expectations of like people expect me to be in the front or expect me to do so well?
It has been. It's been a long time coming to get where I am now, but I also know that I wouldn't be where I am now without all of the support and the expectations that come with the people around me.
What age did you start with the track club?
5.
Oh, wow, that is really early.
Yeah.
I know, like with some sports, um, I haven't seen it as much in running, but I have seen it. But with some sports, when kids get involved with it so early, they can definitely go through times when it's like they love it, and then it's like, oh my God, I just need to
Getting a
step
little.
away from it.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had some challenges and some down years. Like my sophomore and junior years were definitely rough. I had some medical problems too, so that didn't help. But I had so much support around me, and it's just been amazing how many people will help you get through all the challenges.
And that's true. And I mean, obviously, you've talked about your family, but I think the running community here in New Mexico is
Definitely,
pretty amazing.
definitely. And Coach Henry is great too. He's been great since I started running in 8th grade, and even before that, when I was just watching my brother run for the high school too. He's always been there and super supportive. So
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic coach, and I got to run for his dad back in the day, and so
great family.
absolutely, it's still cool for me to be able to see his dad out there supporting the Cleveland team as well, and being
Yeah.
able to have him around. I'm sure that's pretty
Well,
awesome.
and like every night before state, we always have a team dinner. Um, his parents' house, so they're involved. I love it.
That is really cool. I didn't know that. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. I guess some of the older generation of runners still kind of being out there and supporting in different ways.
Definitely. Just adds to the running community.
Right. You know, one thing that I find interesting when talking with people who have gone through some illnesses and injuries and stuff like you have is just that motivational piece. You talked a
Mhm.
little bit about having your support system there, but how I guess how hard was that to like know where you could be, but you were having to struggle through these processes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really all about the comeback. I was at probably one of my lowest points at state my junior year. I barely crossed the finish line. Um, but just being able to come back my senior year, and I had an undefeated cross country season, which was pretty cool for me. And really just being able to come back and prove to myself and to other people that I didn't. That's not the end of Leah Futey. I still got a lot more to come.
Well, and you're right. I mean, it can be hard to do that, and I know being at that state meet and watching that finish,
Hmm.
a lot of people were like in shock.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to see you come back, not only this cross country season, but last track season and be able to do the things you did in track.
Yeah. But I really do believe it's all about the comeback and how strong you can come back.
I agree. And it's so important to know you can do that because the that transition from high school to college can be so
Definitely.
difficult. There can be setbacks. Sometimes you're adding in mileage, and so knowing that you can overcome things and get to that point, I think is very
Definitely.
important.
It's a huge confidence booster.
Yeah. You talked about being able to come back in that track in that cross country season. Do you have a preference between cross country and track?
Um, I enjoy the atmosphere, like the team atmosphere. It feels more like family during cross. All of our teams are all together. We always race at the same meets at the same time, no matter what. But I love track races. I love running on the track. I love knowing how much longer I have until I finish, like exactly. Um, and that's just the type of person I am. I love knowing like exactly where I stand. But both of them just have their own qualities that make it like what became to be what I love.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think they're both can be amazing in different ways, but I think most people who do both tend to have a preference one
Yeah,
way or another. I was always a cross country guy, but I also was a lot slower in track. So
personally I love the mile, and it feels like the perfect in between distance between everything else. So that's
yeah,
one of my go-to favorite event.
and I mean you've been very good at it. So
It helps when you feel like you can do well in it. Definitely.
yeah, what did it feel like to that's one of your favorite events to go out over last summer and break 5 minutes in the
Yeah.
mile?
I mean, that had been a huge goal coming from like freshman year of high school. And it was awesome to run at Hayward Field too. It's an incredible stadium.
Talk about that stadium, like being able to go through the tunnels and get onto that stadium as a high school athlete.
Yeah, I mean, there's like all like the warm up areas behind the track and everything, and then like just the anticipation waiting until you get called out to the line for your race. And then, I mean, I feel like I was sort of just like space out as soon as the gun fires, but just standing there on the line waiting for the gun to go off is one of the most nerve wracking feelings ever. But I love racing in the bigger meets just because it's an incredible experience that you can't experience otherwise.
That's true. I mean, in those bigger meets, you also tend to have more competition, more people around you to help push you.
And it's at sea level, which helped.
Yes, that sea level boost is it's great.
It is a little extra oxygen.
Yeah. Has your brother talked about that since he still comes, I know he still comes back in the summer and trains and then goes, you know, to his school during the, actual season. Has he talked about that, getting that boost from, the off season trainings?
Yeah. Um, I see his summer runs, and he trains really well. I always look up to his runs because I feel like he does really well in training, which is super cool. He also talks a lot about the climate difference from here to Louisiana. It's like so
Yeah.
much hotter and humid there. But yeah,
Well, and talking about climate difference, I mean, Syracuse is going to be a little bit different than New Mexico.
it's cold. But when I went on my visit there, my dad was like, "You're gonna fall in love with it, and then you're gonna realize how cold it's gonna be, and you're gonna be there while it's like 65, 70 degrees." And that's what it was. I was wearing like a tank top while I was there.
Well, I mean, it'll be a cool experience. What made you decide that that's where you wanted to go?
I mean, I went on a few other visits, and I really liked all of them. Um, but Syracuse was my last visit, and it sort of just had like the little missing piece that I really needed, and like the team felt like family, and I love the coaches. Like their philosophies sound like what I want to get me to the next level, and I'm just really excited.
That's great. And I really do enjoy hearing like seniors when they're getting ready to that and they're doing these trips because, when they find that spot that's really like clicks for them,
Yeah,
I'm sure you felt this just like, oh yeah, this is it.
yeah, this is the one. Like I was flying home, and I called Coach Henry in the airport. I was like, "This is where I want to go."
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Until it's freezing.
right. It was -20 there a few weeks ago, so
Oh wow.
it should be interesting. But they have great indoor facilities too, and they're prepared for the weather, so
Right.
it'll be okay.
And what about the academic side of it? Uh, do you have any thoughts on what you're going to kind of major in or what you're thinking about at this point?
I mean, first off, they're like an amazing academic school, so
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be going there. But also, from a pretty young age, I wanted to be a physical therapist, so I'm planning to go into kinesiology and eventually go to PT school.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I think we need plenty of PTs.
Yeah, and I've been like shadowing like my old physical therapist that I went to like whenever I got injured, and just to get some volunteer hours and stuff and get used to the atmosphere and sort of just learn what it's all about.
What got you interested in PT?
My physical therapist, he was great. Like I started going there from a pretty young age, just like growing and stuff and running that many miles. There was always something wrong with my hips or my back or something, and he was just great, and he helped me so much, and I just want to do what he does.
Yeah. I will tell you, I actually, when I started school, that's what I wanted to do
Hmm.
at that time because I had gone to PT, had a wonderful person, and I was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to
Yeah,
help other athletes who are
yeah,
dealing with the stuff I'm dealing with.
yeah. And I think it really just adds like to the like personal connection that you can make with people is just like understanding what they're going through.
Absolutely. I think there's a piece too, and that a lot of athletes who kind of go into that have this feeling of like, oh, if I'm doing this, then I also know what's happening within my body
Definitely.
when,
I give you my own PT.
yeah, kind of self diagnose,
Yeah,
or at least maybe be smarter about listening to your
for
body.
sure. You can learn a lot about your body just by understanding how everything works.
Absolutely. Uh, going back a little bit, you talked about wanting to kind of show and have that comeback during
Hmm.
cross country this year. Um, was part of that comeback was one of those goals to have an undefeated season?
I mean, not necessarily, but I also like going on all the visits and stuff during that time, I was pretty motivated to like improve my times. And like with that, it just like the motivation to just like keep getting faster and try to get like as far ahead as I could came with that. So that was my goal really. And it just happened that I did end up winning all the races.
Well, it was pretty awesome to watch like through the season because you were running so well, but it also kind of helped the rest of the girls in the state, like who are
Mhm.
chasing you. Like it seemed like they were pushing harder just to be able to
Yeah.
try to keep pace with you, and it seemed to make everybody better.
Yeah. Well, and at the beginning of the season, I was a little nervous because I had done a trail race over the summer and I had completely messed up my ankle. Like it was, I had a really bad sprain. And so I missed the first meet. I didn't run at the Cleveland Invite because my ankle was all messed up. And then the UNM meet was my first meet. And I just happened to PR there. So it was sort of just like a little confidence boost at the beginning of the season. Like, oh, I came back again after I came back.
What trail race did you do?
It's the National High School Trail Championships in Salida, Colorado.
Oh wow, I did not know that. What was that like?
You just cut out a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Um, so what was that like?
I mean, I've done it. This was the third year I did it, and
Oh,
like it's a 5.5 mile race, I believe. Most of it is uphill. It's a pretty hard race, but I turned my ankle about a mile in, and then I just sort of hobbled up to the nearest like people who were like giving directions, and I was like, "Can I call my dad?" So they drove up the back of the mountain to come pick me up because my ankle had swelled up pretty quickly.
wow. I didn't know that this was something you had been doing. That's really kind of awesome.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just I all the different experiences are pretty fun. Just meeting different people and seeing different places and racing different races.
Right. So is it just like a high school thing, or do they have like a
There is an
bigger?
open race,
Okay,
but like the it's actually like the high school like aspect of it is actually pretty competitive.
that's pretty amazing. I had no real idea that was a
We
thing.
found out over COVID because we were just looking for any race that we could run, and that was one of them. So we drove to Colorado and raced, and they were doing it in like heats. So they would like send out like a group of like 5 people, and then like 30 seconds later another. So and then we just keep
I
going after that. So
Oh, that's really cool. And I remember a couple of other, I knew some people who did some other trail races at the same time,
mhm.
and there was that same type of thing where there's like waves of like 5 to 15
Yeah,
people at a time, um, which is interesting.
yeah,
But the trail community is so different and
oh, it
so
is. And those
just
people are so cool. They're so laid back, and they're just like, "Let's go run."
yeah. Is that something you think you'd ever get more into?
I mean, personally, I still like the track better, but I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it is just so different. I'm definitely intrigued, but the idea of just like being out there that long
Yeah.
and making
No,
sure you're
like
eating the
my
right
dad
stuff.
and my brother have done like 50Ks and stuff, and it's just not for me.
Do you have you crewed for them?
um, I've done like a couple of the miles just to pace along with them, but nothing significant.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a whole different world.
Definitely.
What are you looking forward to this track season?
I just want to keep getting faster. I want to keep, it's my last high school track season, so might as well just give it everything I can, see what comes out of it. I don't know how much
Awesome.
I'm planning on traveling, just because I'll start college training over the summer and stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If I figured you were probably going to skip some of that summer stuff since you'd be training for cross country already.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on how everything lands and how I'm feeling by the end of the season and stuff.
That's awesome. Um, are you excited to, try to defend that mile, that 1600-meter championship this year?
Yeah, and I mean currently I hold the 2 mile also, so I want to
Yeah,
break that a little bit farther, get the time down a little bit farther.
because you ran 11 flat
11 flat.
last year, right?
I was like right in between the 10:59 and the 11:01 that it was previously at. I was like, man, I can run one more second.
Well, I mean, considering I know it's sea level, but you did do what, 10:48 at the national meet last year, so
Yeah,
you're a little older, a little
I'm on my
stronger,
way.
right? So I'll definitely be cheering you on and cheering everybody else who's out there racing, because when everybody's pushing each other, it just makes it that much
It
better.
does. So the competitive atmosphere, but being able to like be friends outside of the race is so much fun.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
Talk about that a little bit, because I think sometimes um, in high school it can get a little bit competitive, and I've seen in certain years, especially more on the boys' side,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, they can get a little bit like they just want to beat each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm always talking to the girls on the line. I love meeting new people and just catching up with old friends and stuff. And it's helped a lot. Like, having run club for such a long time, I know so many people, like, growing up with them. So a lot of them are more like family than anything else.
Yeah. I was one of my parents had sent me a thing of a club entry form from back when their kid was running, and I was looking at the name, like your name was on there, and there were some other girls who are currently running, and I was just like, wow, I did not realize that, like,
There's a big club, like, atmosphere that just stayed running throughout high school, which is amazing. I love
yeah,
it.
no, it's fantastic, and to see like a lot of them still competing at a high level and not like burning out
For
or
sure.
getting tired of the sport.
Yeah. No, and I think like a lot of people ran Cougar, like not even just like club in general. Like there were so many people on my team that I practiced with every single day. So it's awesome.
Yeah, there was someone else who told me that, because I was talking about, I think, one of the Adams State
Hmm.
runners, and they were like, "Oh yeah, they were on the Cougar team," and I was on it, and like
Yeah,
all of this, like, how many people ran on
a
the
lot.
Cougars?
There was a lot of people throughout the years.
So, and then that speaks a lot to the program that they put on, and the
Yeah.
coaches
Well,
that
my
they
dad
have,
was
that the
head coach
kids.
for a long time too. So he's also very involved. And my mom is managing director, I think, of USATF. So
Yeah,
everybody's just involved in my family, which is awesome too.
yeah, it makes it hard not to be a part of it,
Definitely.
but in a good way, because you're seeing the positive
Yeah.
aspects of it as well.
And not, like now I'm still like I go to some of the meets and I get to see like the little kids starting where I started and see them grow up. So it's cool.
That's awesome. So you help out at some of the
Yeah,
meets?
I've been to some of them and my mom always has to work them, so sometimes I'll just tag along.
Yeah. I mean, that's really cool. Because I'm sure that there's definitely some that look up to you the way that you were looking up to some of those older athletes when you were
For
running.
sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's sort of the expectations thing I was talking about at the beginning. It's not a bad thing at all, but it's there knowing that people are watching.
Yeah. Since you have been involved so long, were there runners that you were looking up to
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you were little,
um, there
beside your brother?
yeah. I mean, I still know a lot of people who are running collegiately currently, but I was running with them, um, like from a young age, like when I was in elementary school and they were in like middle school and stuff. So I was sort of always the youngest one in the group. So there was a lot of people to look up to.
That's great. That's fantastic to know that and like see that,
Hmm.
like that's um I think one of the things that I really kind of like talking about and seeing, because I know when I got started in the sport, there were people I was watching who were, graduating or close to graduating. I was like, I want to be like them when
Yeah.
I get,
Well, and something so weird is I feel like I've like graduating and going to college and running in college is such it's been such a long time coming, and it's weird that I'm like leaving to move to New York in a couple of months. I'm like, oh, it's happening.
yeah. Yeah, it's quite a transition.
It's a far transition too, but it'll be exciting. Whole new adventure.
Yeah. Have your parents already talked about sending you, chili care packages or anything?
I'm definitely more of a red chili person than a green chili person.
All right. It's a good answer. I like both. I'm a Christmas
Yeah,
guy.
both are good. But if I had to
Yeah.
choose, I would pick red chili.
I think, yeah, red chili's good. I think I go with green a little bit more.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But it's one of those questions that can only be, talked about
Sure.
here. If you go try to order green chili out of New York, you might just get jalapeno.
You're gonna get a weird look from people.
Yeah. But you'll get good buffalo
True.
wings.
Yeah.
So
Good talk
pluses and
though.
minuses. Oh, um, this is really cool. I've often seen you at a lot of the races, and we've never really talked, but it's cool kind of getting to know you and your
Yeah, for
personality.
sure.
Um, Again, I think a lot of the girls like you that you talk to on the sidelines have gotten to know that over the years. Um, but now hopefully we'll have some
Yeah.
other people who are like, oh, that's who Leah
Yeah.
is, and be able to root for you
Yeah.
too.
Well, I love meeting new people, so I'm always
Yeah,
down to have a conversation.
that's awesome. Um, well, I'm like I said, I'm excited. I know I like as a coach, I'm excited for the new track season. Uh, we're going to be going over to Cleveland this Friday for your meet.
Okay.
Are you excited to get it
Yeah, I
started?
am. I the off season is so challenging just because you're running on your own and like it is hard to find motivation to just like get up and run every day. So it's nice during season because there's something to like look forward to at the end of each week. Like, oh, I get to race. I get to like show off the work that I've been putting in.
Right. And that's another interesting transition going from high school to college. Is in college
Not
you're
racing
not
as much.
necessarily racing every
Yeah,
week.
but I don't know.
But
I do like being in season though, knowing that I have something to look forward to that's coming up.
I think that there's a lot of people that feel the same way as
Mhm.
you, even up into adulthood, like knowing like, oh, I'm doing this race,
Yeah,
in X amount of weeks, and having that goal and knowing
you're
this
gonna
is what
make it
I'm
there.
building
Yeah.
toward. So, well, good. I'm excited to see you out there. I'm excited to be at the Cleveland. We haven't traveled to the Cleveland track in several years, so it'll be fun to be out on
Yeah, you'll be
there.
back. How
Yeah.
many runners do you guys have come?
Um, we have, I think we've got about 35 on the girls and 25 to
It's
30 on
pretty
the
big.
boys. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad for us. How are you guys looking?
Um, we graduated quite a few people, but we have a pretty strong team coming back. I'm not sure the numbers, but
Yeah.
hopefully it's a good season and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Right. I'm excited for, how the competitions of everybody um and how it turns out, and not only the individual races and competitions, but then like at state, the who's
Yeah.
going to have the strong enough all around team.
No, that's always super fun just to see what who podiums and stuff.
Right. Cuz I can't you guys won last year, right?
Boys,
The boys did.
yeah, our boys have
And
won
you
like
guys
9 years in a row
right,
or
yeah.
something like that. It's crazy.
It's something crazy. Were you guys
I
second
think we
last
were
year?
fourth.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, wow. Wow. I can't remember that, I guess.
I don't remember, but
But yeah, I mean, again, it's all pretty competitive. There's
definitely.
so many good teams, and
And like the sprint carries like so much just because they can do so many more events.
yes. And you already talked about, but I'm assuming you're doing the mile and 2 mile double
Mile to
again.
mile. I also ran the 4x8 at state last year. Um,
Okay.
I qualified in the open 8, and I pretty often get put in the 4x4.
Yeah.
Sort of everything, but it's fun. I like the diversity, and
Yeah.
that's another thing that you don't really get in college. It's sort of specified to one or two events.
That's true. That is very true. Do you like the four
I
by
do.
four?
I think it's different. It's fun.
And what do you think about the 4x8? That's only been a couple of years
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I've also run the medley, so it's not super different because I would be
Okay.
running a relay 800 either way, but it's fun. It
That makes sense.
really, I feel like it bonds some of the team just to get four strong 800 runners in there because the 800 is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like the 4x8 just because it kind of the medley's always cool, but the 4x8 really kind of brings the cross country
Definitely.
kids
Yeah.
together.
No, it's a fun one.
That's, yeah, that part's always cool. So
I like all the relays though. I think they're fun. I think it just sort of ties the team together.
I agree. It's just I love, like I said, I love cross country. Like that is my, if I had to pick
Yeah.
one, that's what I would stick to. But there's just something about going to a track meet and being able to, like, you got your sprinters that you're cheering on, and then you can come over here and
Everything.
watch some of your throwers, and the jumpers are out there doing their thing, and I don't even know what the pole vaulters are doing, but
They're
they're doing
vaulting.
something.
But yeah, no, it is really a cool atmosphere just having everybody in the same place. So
Yeah. So, well, cool. Well, like I said, thank you again for joining
thank you
me.
for having me.
I'm excited for the season. Excited to see what you do, and how well everybody else is running
Yeah,
with you.
no, it'll be a fun season.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before I let you go?
I don't think so.
I'd once again like to thank my guest for their time, and thank you for tuning in. If you have the opportunity, please rate and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, or just help spread the word. Music was provided by Philip Friedman. You can follow him on SoundCloud at DJ Teach. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at RunningNM. Feel free to drop me a line or shoot me an email at runningnewmexico@gmail.com if you have any questions or know of someone who should be interviewed. In the meantime, keep running, New Mexico.